Give me a moment, people. Let's see here. Come on, chat. Discord. Mm. Give me a second. Try and get this to where we can actually talk to people here. If you're just now joining in, if you're in the Discord, you can go to the pre-stream chat and actually talk. If you have any type of questions or anything, just ask. We'll stop what we're doing and go over them. Either way, I'm going to be painting, and it's Friday night, and I'm a nerd, so I have nothing better to do. So here we are. All right. Discord's going. Post a link in the chat. There we go. Okay. I think don't hold me to it, but I think we're good. So fun project I've been fiddling with. This has been sitting on the desk for a long time. This is a Space Marine and some night bits and some green stuff. And essentially what I have done is I have made Gizmo Duck from DuckTales. I'd like to get this guy painted. We went out to a local store the other day and just hung out with a bunch of people. Good handful that I've never met before. We just hung out and painted. I needed to do something to get some motivation and get off my butt. And one of the things I painted was a Wesley Snipes blade. Very cool mini. Looks good. Let's see if we can get it focus. Whoa. Keeps trying to look at my hand. Let's move the hand. Come on. Does it not like my left hand? Let's try that. There. Just Wesley Snipes blade. Pretty small scale. Still, cool mini. It's been sitting in a little Ziploc bag for a hot minute. I just wanted to paint something fun and easy, and gotta tell you, that's about as easy as it gets. And then I sat there and I painted another miniature. I wanted to do something a little bit more difficult, but I only had an hour. And I had a 3D printed Rogue Mystique miniature, which it's not showing up very well. Man, it's so dark. But it turned out really good. I can take some better pictures of it later and get them posted to the Discord. But yeah, this miniature turned out great. Just can't see it. Bad lighting. All right, set that one there. Piece of base terrain I'm working on. Need to be working on that. These are some extremely cheap paintbrushes. I got these from Dollar Tree. I figure we would try and paint a model with cheapest paintbrushes I can find. They're all kind of fat. I need at least one fine point brush. So I might have to go back to the Dollar Tree and buy at least one more brush. Because I will need at least one smaller brush. I'm totally okay with them all being big fat brushes, but it would be nice to have at least one smaller brush. Unless, y'all don't mind me like proxying a slightly more expensive brush. I mean, these are pretty cheap. They come in a pack of 5. Also one of my favorite brushes, oddly enough. As far as paint brushes go, though, Wet n Wild, baby. One of these days I'm going to get that sponsorship. I've hit up the makeup company a couple times, and they're like, you're a painter. Why do you want makeup brushes? Because makeup pigment is nothing but paint. Alright. Just a little pipette, slap full of good clean water. Just cleaned out wash pot today. LA Awesome. Makes it look like brand new. And I know I've said it in a few of my videos that if you're not using smart water as your pot water, you're doing it wrong. I really hope you guys understand that that's a joke. I use this bottle because it has a pour top. That's all it is. I like the pop top, able to squeeze it out. It's literally just a water bottle. And I put lukewarm room temperature water in it. It's really no big deal. But if you're not using a smart water bottle, you're probably a bad painter, because it's not about your effort or your skill. It's about the plastic bottle that you tote your water around in. I mean, let's be for real. A couple little fidget poppers. Little doodads are great for small portions of paint. It's not a bad deal. A little bit bigger one. I was using this one the other night. They do clean up very easy. That's definitely a plus on their end of the spectrum. I mean, I still use the little plastic trays and stuff like that. And I do have a wet palette sitting here. I just find myself not using a wet palette very much these days. I'm not trying to save paint. In some cases, I'm actually trying to use up paint because I really kind of want to get rid of some of the more Citadel paints that I have. I keep finding myself getting farther and farther away from them. Their paint's just not as good as it used to be. All right. What was that? Gray primer. We'll put that up here on the spray booth. There's some black primer. Here's some. I think this bottle of black primer is about seen the end of its days. One thing you can do when you start noticing chunks in your air primer paint, you can filter it. You can get you a little piece of screen, like what do you call those little screens that you crack an egg off into? And it removes the egg white from the yolk. And you can just take your bottle and pour it into one of those, and all the little chunks will stay caught in the screen. Over time, when the bottle gets a little over 75% empty, like gets around this point, I think what happens, somehow the paint in the bottle dries up against the plastic. So when you shake it, it creates some chunks. All right, wash pot. And we'll set that there. Nice and out of the way. We'll get another paint handle, because who knows, why not? Check the pressure. Good. Quick instruction on airbrush. When you're using an airbrush, the way you go about using it is you push down on the trigger. Once you have the trigger pushed down, slowly pull back on the trigger. The further back you pull on the trigger, the more paint comes out. But you need to do it slowly so that you can keep up with how much paint is coming out. Now, when you have it like this, never just do this. That is the number one thing. Don't just let go of your trigger. When you have your trigger pushed down and pulled back, slowly push your trigger forward, let the air blow for a second, and then release. What it does is a lot of times paint gets built up on the tip of your needle. And by allowing yourself to push this forward, it will blow off that point. And every once in a while, just have yourself a piece of sponge laying around. You sit there and wipe off the needle a little bit. It's not going to hurt anything. All right. Guess a few drops of paint in here. One of the next projects we'll be doing a video on is how to make a paint carrying case on a budget. All right. Cut on our fan. We're just going to prime this bad boy real quick. Just little circles, get that full coverage. Go from different angles, rotate the model. I need to move that switch to the front of my spray booth. We're just going to blow this off right here because there wasn't much paint in there. These mats in the bottom of my spray booth are there to catch moisture. They literally remove moisture from the air. I live in the South. We have a very humid climate here. As a matter of fact, it's raining right now. I can hear it through the window next to me. We're just going to do a quick clean. Check our needle tip. It's all clear. All right. So we've got our black primer on there. As you can see, it's very shiny. So we'll blow that off using the airbrush, and it'll make it dry faster. But these are play mats like you would use for playing card games and stuff like that. I've had somebody recently ask me about it. These play mats are actually designed to remove moisture. They claim it's to keep your cards from curling. Also, so that you don't have to sleeve your cards. While they do remove moisture, I find that they work really well for absorbing moisture. So they have a rubber backing with a cloth front. If I ever spill anything in here, like I did that one video where I just poured out a pot of null oil on the table. Yeah, if I ever spill anything, it immediately gets soaked up before I can even reach a paper towel. Alright. Looks like we're pretty dry now. Primer's got a little bit of shine to it. Which one is this? Vallejo Surface Primer. Huh. I don't really remember that primer ever really being shiny. Alright. Shake up a bottle of paint. It's Army Painter Matte White. One of my more favorite white paints. I do have thinner and stuff literally right next to me, but I mean, we're just goofing off. I'm just going to use some water, which is totally fine to do, by the way. Mix it up in a pot. Just got a little stir stick. Old paintbrush handle from a brush that I finally threw away. I am the world's worst to not throw away paintbrushes. I will just keep using them and using them and using them, and even now I've got a container sitting back behind me that's full of ruined brushes that are soaking in a container of LA Awesome. And they're going to be fine. Some of them have curled tips and globs of paint where I just decided I was going to throw a brush away, or I was doing something like texture paste. And I've found most of the time those brushes can be saved. Actually have to add some more paint. bad thing about sticking all your junk brushes into a wash pot is when you need a junk brush, can't find one. Alright, we're just going to do a quick clean, and then after I'm done streaming, I'll come back and clean this out a lot better. Over here to my right hand side, I've got a container that I use for rinsing this. A lot of times just pour water in it, shake it up a little bit, then pour the water out. You know, rinse and repeat. Come on. All right, good enough for now. Put this on the rack with the other. Cut off switch to the compressor. Pressure release valve. Booyah. God, I hate wearing gloves. I almost hate wearing gloves as much as I hate wearing a mask. You know, that's one of the main reasons I have a spray booth, so that I don't have to wear a mask. All right, Discord. Let's get ourselves a reference photo off of the world of Googles. Come on, Googles. All right. Gizmo Duck. Search. Clicky, clicky, come on. All right. So that's the actual cartoon character. And that's kind of what I came up with, which was a little bit of a mix between the new character and the old character. See, that's the new character. And the old character. So there's some small differences here and there. I mean, obviously, there's only so much you can do with a bunch of Space Marine bits, but, you know, we even managed to get the little rocket launcher thing on the side of the arm. We got the little flip-up thing. Yeah, all the little buttons and whatnot. It's cool stuff, because, you know, we're old like that. Okay, we got a primer. We got our base coat. Well, that's all the work done. I'll see you guys later. No. Let's see. Let's goof off and use some of this paint. so I never use this stuff. Purple, red. That's orange. That's red. Light blue. War paint. Let's see. Need a green. Very small amount of green. And a little bit of yellow. This will be some colors, odd color combinations that I'm not really that used to using, because like it's such a cartoony thing. I guess I need a metallic or two. Well, I'll grab a metallic in a minute. Y'all been sitting around patient. All right. Let's see. Where do we want to start? Scroll back. So, red stripe. We'll start with the reds. We might have to add some details that don't actually exist on this model. Come on, 1 or 2 drops is more than enough for this little thing. Let's see here. Probably need a smaller brush, just because there's going to be some little areas to get into. Here we go. Alrighty. Let's just move these bottles of paint. So I'm in an interesting situation. Y'all get to watch this from my hand's point of view. I am painting this through the camera's point of view. So everything I do, I'm having to do looking through the camera. It's a very interesting point of view. Let's see if I can get a little better lighting. There we go. All right. So we got a little red stripe right here, and it goes all the way down to here. And then it comes back to right about here. All right. Wish I had a picture of the back of his head. Then we got the gizmo duck symbol, which is practically a line edge job here. This was an afternoon of boredom that created this monstrosity. Actually, a little proud of this tiny gizmo duck symbol. That was fairly hard to make on such a small scale. It has such an interesting look to it. You know, because it's got to fit the model. You can't just make it and stick it on there. All right. Other good thing about using your pads here. You don't really need paper towels. You just wipe it off on the pad. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to tell anybody. You don't tell anybody. We'll be fine. All right. Let's see. We've got some red buttons here. There we go. We got one red button here. If you're looking around at these parts on this model and you're wondering where to get those, well, these little buttons came off the side legs of a Space Marine, and I had to carve them off. And then the little screen, I think, came off of an Interceptor. Tire came off an Outrider. Parts of the legs came off of a Knight. Don't even remember what this little rocket-looking doodad came off of. There's like 5 or 6 different Space Marines in this thing. I think there's even some Terminator parts in there that I had to shave down to make them all fit right. I mean, it's such a gloppy mess. And of course, now I have hiccups. Awesome. Okay, red legs. Let's see. We're going to start here. And sometimes you just kind of got to do your own thing. Do something a little goofy. For me, this is just a goofy little fun project. You know, growing up as a kid, DuckTales was on the TV. Gizmo Duck was the cool guy. And personally, I have never seen a toy, a figure, or anything for him, which is kind of lame, because as a kid, I would have loved to have had a Gizmo Duck toy. That would have been so cool. And, you know, like I said, we're just goofing off. Don't try to go overboard or anything like that. Just grab yourself some old junk piece of toy or something, and Dollar Tree toy. I love the dinosaurs from the Dollar Tree. Once you reprime them, they have so much good texture on them. They are absolutely great for practice. If you're going to practice with an airbrush, you should try coloring books. I mean, if you don't have access to a coloring book, you just take an ink pen, draw some swiggly lines on a piece of paper, and, you know, try to trace those lines with your airbrush without destroying your airbrush. Big thing about an airbrush is learning to put it together and take it apart. Keeping it clean. That's the big deal. You know, like I said, I've got mine's currently not the cleanest airbrush in the world at the moment, but it will be here in a little bit. Because, you know, got to keep it clean. If you do not keep your airbrush clean, it will fall apart. It'll just be total trash. It's one of those things you just got to take care of it. Let's see here. Need a little red button right there. Already getting bored with the red. There we go. A little red dot. Let's see. This one, well, actually all 3 of these, looking at my picture. And up the side here. Got it. Alright, I believe that is all the red. What do we want to do next? Let's do some yellow. Okay. Alright. Get us another dot of yellow here. That's just straight. There we go. Yellow's not quite as cartoony as I would like. Might go over it with some Indian yellow. All right, yellow. We've got a yellow stripe going across here. Yep. And then yellow button. And all this part is yellow. And another yellow button here. Okay, now the color we need the least of. A little bit of green. Yep, that's good enough. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So right there, here, and right there, and there. It's all over green. A little bit of hive dweller purple. It's a very small amount of purple. Make sure I don't put it in the green. There we go. We're going to thin this down 1 to 1. As for the paint in this, we'll let it sit and dry overnight. And then tomorrow, just pop the little inserts and peel the dry paint out. No big deal. It's a cute little technique. Works pretty good. No arguments here with it. All right. Well, got a little bit too much paint on there. Army Painter War Paint Phantasmal Blue. Then we'll be on to our blacks on the home stretch. Oh. Well, that's interesting. This is a brand new pot of paint, and the tip is clogged. I literally just bought this yesterday, and it looks used. Great. Wonderful. And the bottle still feels full. Okay. There's one. There's two. Let's see here. That's purple. Do I not have a black on hand? Well, let's see. Scale 75 black. And Crusaders black. This will work. Hey, Saris. You streaming tonight, buddy? If you are, I'm sorry I missed it. Unless it's one of your political streams, then I'm not sorry I missed it. Long story short, Buffalo Wild Wings. So y'all went out to play Magic the Gathering tonight. Very cool. I was talking to Krull earlier. I was telling him I thought everybody would be at the shop in Marietta. But, you know, he's able to call people too. So, Gizmo Duck from DuckTales. I'm just goofing off. I had nothing to do tonight. I'm killing time, procrastinating other projects just because I needed something different to look at. I'm sure you know all about that. This is the first time I've live streamed in months. It seems like everybody's got something going on tonight, but I mean, I need to do a video. I got to do something. People forget you exist if you don't. So why not? So Cyrus here in the chat He's got a politics channel. I will say the politics channel's not for everybody. But if you are a Magic player and you're not following his budget builds and stuff like that, you're crazy. He builds amazing decks. He's entertaining. He's got an amazing voice. Super smart. Yeah. His content's genuinely good. Unlike me, where I'm just sitting here regurgitating shit at you. Because, it's Friday and I'm home alone. There we go. A little bit of black. Well, I missed a spot up in there. You know what? I'm not going to do this with a big brush. Grab the little one. I hope you guys have fun at Buffalo Wild Wings. Maybe I'll find my way out there tomorrow night. I don't know. I doubt it. That shop's a little bit of a stretch for me right now. So normally I prefer to use a larger brush like that last one I had in my hand. Larger brushes are usually my go-to brushes. You get more coverage. You don't have to dip in the paint as often. Good quick coat. But in this situation, everything I'm doing is pretty darn tiny. All right. So again, we're getting somewhere. It's starting to look like a thing. Even now, I just want to reach over and grab that big brush. It's just so... I know a lot of you guys starting out think you got to have the smallest brush in the world for everything. I got to tell you, once you get that mindset out of your head and you find out that bigger brushes are the way to go, it actually makes it slightly frustrating to use these smaller brushes because you have to re-dip them every so often. You're constantly washing them out. Keep your brush clean, by the way. Do constantly wash them out. Yeah, it's a really bad idea not to wash your brushes regularly. Got it all the way in there. Back here at the picture. But like I said, this gizmo deck was just something I threw together out of some green stuff and some little Warhammer bits that I had laying around in front of me at the time. It was a bored afternoon. Let's just say that. Kind of like tonight. Tonight's a bored night. Get some more in there because that would be great if I could. can. I have to do a little white touch up on these areas a little bit. All right. And then this side, this gets painted black too, up to that point. The little elbow guard can stay white. You know, we're just, like I said, we're having fun. We're slapping some paint on some plastic. I mean, if I'm being honest, this thing's been sitting on a shelf for like 2 years. And this is the first time I've even considered painting it. Okay. Whites, metallics. What do I want to use for metallics? I know what I want. But I got it in the metallic. Took a lot of paint with me to the shop the other night. So all my metallics are sitting here rolling around in a bag. It's a little foam cooler. This is also why I want to do a video on paint carrying cases, because I would definitely like to have another carrying case to carry some of my more niche paints that I don't use as often. A little bit smaller than my big carrying case. I used to use a rolling wheel tool chest, carried everything down to an air compressor with me. All right. The old school Vallejo metal colors, can't beat them. The new Vallejo metal colors are close, but they are not the same thing. And they are definitely not as good. That, and they come in such small bottles. I've definitely gotten mileage out of these. And again, I grabbed this stupid little brush. It's all right. It'll be all right. We're not going to be doing a whole lot with it. Just paint the inside of this outrider rim. Leave the outside of it because we're going to paint that white. A little bit more. Yeah, this little paint job, like, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but the goal here is not to do the best job I can. The goal here is to get color on something and be happy with it. Feel like I'm accomplishing something. Okay. Now let's see, where are we at? We need some white. Shake, shake, shake. Get a little bit of white paint. That's a lot of white paint, but it's okay. People, like I said earlier, I'm not using a wet palette near as much as I used to, because I have found that the amount of paint that I use. I go through a lot of paint normally, but here lately I've slowed down a good bit. And one of the things I've noticed is I have certain colors of paint that I do need to replace. They're colors that I don't use very often, so sometimes I make up excuses to use them. Go. A little blotch of white there. Do. But I'm not. I'm getting to where I'm not so conservative with stuff like that, because if I go out of my way to save it, I'm gonna, yeah, it's just gonna go bad. I would rather just use it up, even waste some of it, than just watch it go bad. So the thing about the wet palettes, I'm sure a lot of you didn't know this, when you use a wet palette, you're actually supposed to stick it in the refrigerator. Yes, refrigerator. And the reason you're supposed to stick it in the refrigerator is because the cold keeps the moisture contained to the place where it is. So the moisture from your sponge doesn't get into your paint. A lot of times when you sit there and you sandwich your wet palette, the condensation from the sponge under the wax paper gets into the paint, and then when you open your wet palette, you just have runny, miscolored paint. That's what it is. If you put your wet palette in the refrigerator, you shouldn't have these problems anymore. Just make sure your refrigerator is above freezing temps, as it should be. All right, let's take a look here. Picture. Just for giggles, I feel like I ought to put a wash on this. But if I put a wash on it, it won't be white. And then it'll look like some really bad knockoff White Scars. It's already looking like a really bad knockoff of a White Scars figure. I have no clue what I'm ever going to use this for, other than my sheer enjoyment of just seeing it on the table. Every once in a while when I look up and see it on the bookshelf, it'll be there. And I'll get a little giggle. And that'll be the end of it. I missed part of the beak on one side. But I think we're about to call this done, because there's not much more that could be done to it. Or at least I don't think so. Obviously we could take a Gundam marker, really, really fine point Gundam marker, 0.3, and go around and, do some lines and stuff like that and give it that more cartoony look. But, this was as close as I could get with what random bits I had laying in front of me. And I gotta say, it's not too bad. It's fun to look at. I got a feeling it would probably get me crucified at a Warhammer game, if I'm being honest. That My Little Carnage I did a little while back ago, where I cut up that Carnage figure and the My Little Pony figure and molded them together to make a Carnage proxy for Crisis Protocol. Oh, wow. People really dislike that miniature. Well, let me rephrase that. They don't hate it. It's a train wreck of a figurine. I mean, you look at it, you laugh, you say that's hilarious, and you say it's an abomination, and then you move on. So, all right, there's our gizmo duck. Here's our rogue. And I really wish I could get that to focus a little better. Is it because of the light? I bet it's the light. But our rogue mystique. And then bad boy blade. Whoops. Oh, blade down. Blade down. Medic. Okay. I've waffled for about an hour. I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'll try and have another episode out here in the near future and not leave y'all clouded in mystery. Now that I'm done with that, I'm going to sit here and let's see. Just go ahead and pull it up. Come on, YouTube. Slowly coming. It's on its way. The weather is horrible here tonight. Let's see. Minecraft homies. Imp and Skiz podcast is awesome, by the way. Okay. I'm going to sit down and basically go to the first video on this list on Cirrus MTG. And I'm going to sit here while I work on this base terrain and listen to every single one of his episodes. This guy's a good friend. His channel's great. His magic content is indispensable. Like, if you're new to the game, you're missing out if you're not watching this guy. He's great. Good person. Good content creator. I'm just going to sit here and listen to his channels like it's a podcast and work on this base terrain. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out with me, whether you were able to make it for the stream or not. Thanks for watching. Link to the Discord is in the comments below. When I stream these videos, I usually cut on a live stream chat in the Discord, so you don't actually have to text. You can talk. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and keep your brush wet. Just paint. I mean, the more you paint, the better you're going to get. Yeah. You know, don't give up. Just keep doing it. Eventually you'll feel like you're getting somewhere. And then when you feel like you're getting somewhere, keep going. All right. Take care, everybody. Good night.